Hello, and welcome to my channel, where I mostly share my love of fragrance and enjoying my collection. In this video, I'll be reviewing the Berry Haute Holiday Collection from Victoria's Secret. Thank you so much for stopping by, and let's get started. The last collection that I have from Victoria's Secret Holiday is the Berry Haute collection, which I referred to in my holiday preview as the Dark Fruit collection. I've already reviewed the Highly Spirited and the Luxe collections, as well as some from Pink Holiday, and will link those videos in the description box if you want to check them out. I think that the packaging on the Berry Haute collection is really beautiful. The bottles have rich dark colors and metallic accents, and the body lotions are very similar with some larger fruit accents on them. The body lotion packaging is quite shiny, and note that it does pick up fingerprints pretty easily. The Berry Haute collection features 4 new fragrances, and I picked up all of the fragrance mists and body lotions. Many of the items are available in store now, and the full collection is also available online. The collection includes Ruby Rosé, which features notes of raspberry and rose. Next is Merlot Pear, a woody pear fragrance. Then there's Berry Santal, with notes of blackcurrant and sandalwood. And lastly, there's Pom L'Orange, a fruity mix of pomegranate and orange. Now let's get on to the reviews. First up is Ruby Rosé, which has dark pink packaging with raspberries on it. And this one has notes of sparkling raspberry, velvet rose, and red plum. And when I first sprayed this, I actually thought this should have been in the Highly Spirited collection because it smelled strongly of alcohol, like a really boozy drink. It does have a sparkling quality, and it smells sort of like berries soaked in champagne. The rose note comes in quickly, and it feels very fresh, soft, and a bit powdery. And as it dries, the berry fades some, but the rose stays very present. And there is a little bit of sweetness, but I wouldn't classify this as a sweet fragrance. And I feel like I end up with the scent of rose petals with champagne and a hint of dark fruit, which I believe is the plum. And overall, it smells really nice. So while this does have raspberry, I don't feel like berry is the star of the show here. It's really a rose and rosé scent, so I would only recommend this to people who like rose in their fragrances. And I personally think that this is a very pretty scent. Moving on to the body lotion, if you're familiar with Victoria's Secret body care lotions, you know they aren't very thick. But I feel like this one was a little thinner than usual, as it kind of just spilled out when I opened it. The Ruby Rosé lotion opens very similarly to the mist, with a heavy dose of rosé champagne. As it dries, it becomes more like champagne and berries atop fresh roses, and it still has a little bit of that powderiness, only with some added creaminess. The lotion is soft, and I don't find the rose to be overpowering, and I think that this will layer really nicely with the fragrance mist. And next up is Merlot Pear, which has deep burgundy wine-colored packaging with pears on it. And this has notes of lush blackberry, crisp pear, and satin woods. And this opens with a heavy dose of pear, and there's a bit of sharpness to it as well. And it takes a minute for me to pick up the blackberry, and the scent comes across just very fruity for a while, and then the woodiness starts to come in. And the woods are a bit sweet and warm. And it's a little odd because at this stage, I actually really like the scent. But as it starts to dry down more completely, I feel like it starts to turn airy, and I also don't get a lot of the pear at that point. And the dry down just sort of has an odd kind of stale pear scent to me, and it's also pretty soft. And as it's a pear scent, I didn't really expect this one to be my favorite, but I just don't think I care for this one at all. And as far as the lotion for Merlot Pear, it opens even more strongly with pear. And I have to say that there's also a slightly sour note to it, almost like the pear is soaked in alcohol. And that note does fade, and then I get some of the blackberry and woods, which do bring in some sweetness. And it smells like juicy berry and woods, and I actually think that it's pleasant. And so I do care for the body lotion more than the fragrance mist, but overall, this scent isn't going to be one of my favorites. Then I have Berry Santal, which has rich purple packaging with berries on it. And this has notes of juicy blackcurrant, soft sandalwood, and fresh bergamot. And this opens with sweet, juicy berries that have a bit of a sugary, candy-like feel to them. After a little while, the fruit begins to darken and becomes a bit more green. And the fruit at this point also feels less sugary sweet and more syrupy. But there's also a bit of brightness combining with that dark fruit. And then the scent starts to become warmer from the sandalwood, and there's also a hint of powderiness to it. And the scent does retain some sweetness, but it's not super sweet overall. And when it's dried down, I find it to be a nice, dark, syrupy berry scent mixing with warm sandalwood. And I do enjoy berry scents, so I was looking forward to this one, and I do really like the juicy berry quality, but it's not as sweet as I expected it to be. I wish the sandalwood was a little less prominent and that the sugary, candy-like quality was amped up, but I do think that it's a nice scent. And as far as the lotion for Berry Santal, it also smells like sweet berries when first applied, but the sweetness fades quite a bit to leave a darker, slightly more green scent. And again, I do wish that it was sweeter, but it does seem like it will pair well with the fragrance mist. And the last scent in the collection is Pom L'Orange, which has dark, orangey red packaging and pictures of pomegranates. And this has notes of sweet pomegranate, blood orange, and luscious cranberry. And this opens with a very strong, sharp fruitiness that has sort of an alcoholic feel to it, but it's not fizzy or bubbly like Ruby Rosé. And I can pick up the blood orange, and it gives it some brightness, as well as the pomegranate, which adds some slight sweetness. And as it dries, the fruit feels darker and sharper, which must be the cranberry coming in, but I also feel like there's a floral note in here, even though it's not listed. And that note is almost a bit too strong for me at times. So while the scent is fruity, there's something that's keeping it from being a straightforward fruity scent, and I wish that the fruit was allowed to fully shine. So I think that this scent is okay, but it's more floral than I was hoping for, and it doesn't have enough of that fruity sweetness. And as far as the lotion for Pom L'Orange, it starts off very fruity and citrusy. It's a lot less sharp than the fragrance mist, and it also feels like there's a soft floral note and maybe a bit of woodiness in it as well. And I find that I actually like the lotion better than the fragrance mist. Overall, I feel a bit mixed on this collection. I think that the packaging is really beautiful, and I like that the scents are kind of interesting and not your run-of-the-mill VS body mist. The collection feels more in line with collections like Elixir or Euphoria. As these are not super sweet girly scents, they feel a bit more elegant and complex. And while they're all based around fruit, there are other notes elevating some of the scents. And if I had to rank these, coming in last would definitely be Merlot Pear. I just find the pear to have an odd quality to it that I really don't care for. And next would be Pom L'Orange, which has some nice fruitiness, but there's a stronger floral note than I prefer. And coming in second is Berry Santal, with its nice syrupy berry scent, but I wish that the brighter, sweeter opening lasted throughout the life of the fragrance. And that leaves Ruby Rosé as my favorite. I personally love rose scents, and I think that this is a really lovely champagne rose petal scent with a hint of powderiness and dark fruit, and I feel like that scent alone was worth trying out this collection. So that's it for my review of the Berry Haute Holiday Collection from Victoria's Secret. Let me know what you think of these scents and what you're planning to pick up. Thank you for watching. I hope that you'll subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.